Hello and welcome to NUFS with the New Ulm Film Society. I'm Mike.
I'm Clay.
And we're here to talk about some movies that are coming out this month. Some ones that we're excited about and other ones I think less so. Let's go ahead and take a look at our first trailer today, which is for the film Y2K. Take a look at it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we are releasing our final report on the Y2K computer problem.
Everyone's here.
We will experience no major national breakdowns.
Someone's on the net.
That's pimp as hell.
You've got mail. Breakdown.
Y2K, 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 Y2K,
You've got mail. They made a video on everything. That's crazy.
Breakdown.
Ooh. They're combining or something. Oh, snap. Think they'll still do graduation?
Well, it looks like fun.
Yes, it does.
It's definitely going to be like kind of a campy proto-horror. I don't know. Have you ever seen like Chopping Mall?
Yeah, I think you're onto something with that. It's probably going to be like that. And it's funny because when I first saw the original trailer for this one, it looked more comedic in tone. This one obviously still does look comedic in tone, but I think they're leaning in more into the horror in this one too. But you're right, it's probably along the veins of Chopping Mall or some of those other. It's pretty popular to do the comedy, horror, and kind of mesh them all together, even like your.
I find that it has mixed results. Sometimes you get Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Other times you get, Thanksgiving. Do you ever see Thanksgiving? It's not good.
No, yeah, I know what you mean. Well, that's the thing is that that's the trick with these movies, because even when they're not good, they can say, well, that's what we were trying to do.
Yeah, and that's a dangerous territory.
That's a dangerous territory, because then it's like you tried so hard to make a bad movie that you just made a bad movie.
Yeah, that's like The Room, where they say, we were trying to do it. You were not trying to do it. No.
I think this is in a different level, though. I think this is, I have faith in this.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the actor Julian Dennison there, he was in a bunch of New Zealand films.
Yep.
I think he's great, so I got a ton of faith in him.
Yeah. Well, stepping back, one of the first things that gave me hope was it's A24.
Yeah, A24 is great.
That studio has a really good track record, even working with young people too, actually. They do marvelous work, so I'm pretty excited too that they know what they're doing here, and that we're going to get something different that we probably weren't expecting.
It's directed by SNL alum Kyle Mooney.
And he's in it too. Yeah,
I have a lot of interest in that because him, especially his partnership with Beck Bennett on SNL, delivered a ton of great sketches. Whether that'll hold up to an entire film or not is always a question with SNL alums.
But he's got a good young cast there that'll help out, and it's just exciting because, of course, the whole plot of this is we're going to take Y2K and reimagine. Like, what if it actually happened? What if the worst actually happened? And it's just it's this fun kind of a nostalgia look, but something that didn't actually.
I remember my dad being very, very worried. He's like, "Make sure the computer's off. We have to have the computer off."
We were a little concerned too in my family, but our thing was like, because we really didn't have the computer yet, so we were like, let's get the computer after 2000. Let's just wait on that one.
I just remember my dad worked, for some defense company, and so he was all nervous about it, and he was he'd probably been in meetings at work about Y2K and all that. So
they were. It was a legitimate concern. They're like, we might have a glitch here that we did not think of. But
I was 9, so it wasn't really on my mind.
Well, I was the same thing. But the thing is, the lead up to it, they usually showed the clip of Bill Clinton there. They were like, we got this. We caught it in time. We can fix this. Don't worry about it. And so and nothing did ultimately happen. But it's fun to imagine what if it did. Let's go to the most extreme crazy.
Where the computers start building into other computers to murder everybody.
I do. And just another thing I kind of appreciate, because they're using a younger audience to tell this story, you can kind of, the people who don't remember Y2K for we do, or even that era of just reality, now the younger generation's getting kind of a history lesson. Not maybe the most accurate one, but a little bit of one. So we're going to have some fun.
It's fun to reimagine, like killer machines as a more fun exercise than just like, have you ever seen, you've watched Star Trek, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you know the episode of Voyager, Critical Care, where the doctor gets kidnapped by these people and he's like administering medicine based on like wealth or something like that? That's, I think, how the machines are actually going to kill us.
Yeah, that would be terrible. Well, the doctor himself is technically a machine, so
Well,
it makes it even better. So it's like, but that's a good episode. We should talk about that. But yeah, it's just this kind of fun little, I don't know. It's so different too. It's something we talked about last time we were here, just making films that aren't completely derivative of something else.
Yeah.
And this film, I don't know what else is kind of like. It's alternative history kind of thing. Is what they're
25 years ago, it's a long time. We'll take another look at it, make a fun reimagining of 1999.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to see more like slang from back then, and it felt like they were using a lot of modern slang, or at least semi-modern slang. That kind of gives me a little bit of pause, whether they'll throw some more stuff in there, but like, oh snap, and that's more like, I feel like the mid-2000s versus the 99.
I noticed there's more in just like the tech and what they were wearing, clothing style, and just even the AOL thing that started out with, where it's like they'll have the surface layer, okay, we remember the era thing, and that might just come down to the actors being able to, these young actors, can we tell them, hey, this is what it was like back then?
It feels like a very Hot Tub Time Machine reimagining of the 80s, where it was just like all of it together, not necessarily the individual aspects that it should have been.
But it's that's so true. But I'm pretty optimistic about this one being able to deliver some good.
It looks like I'll just turn the brain off and enjoy. That's what I'm looking forward to, and hopefully that's what it delivers here.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think maybe we should take a look at our next trailer here, which, Steven, what is it? I already forgot. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. All right.
All right.
I'm excited for this one. My kids love these movies.
they?
And Jim Carrey is always money.
All right.
Let's take a look.
There's something else. I'm detecting a new energy source, and it's off the charts. I don't think this is just about Robotnik this time. There's something else out there.
Sonic, you always think you're fighting for something greater, but it's never that simple. Chaos control isn't a power to be wielded lightly. It's a force of nature, a destiny that could swallow us all if misused.
The way I see it, we each have our path. I'm not here to race, I'm here to defend what matters.
Shadow, huh? So you're the one behind all this chaos? I gotta say, I'm not impressed.
Don't let my silence fool you. When I step into this battle, it's not out of hate or rivalry. It's for the survival of everything I've sworn to protect.
Well, Sonic 3, introducing Shadow this time.
Yeah.
Now, did I read right that it's Keanu Reeves as Shadow? Or is that a
Sorry
joke I
about-
saw on the internet?
That might be a joke that did not sound like Keanu Reeves.
No.
But, I'm not sure. That was actually my first question. I was asking you who we have voice in Shadow. I wasn't sure.
I have no
We'll have to
idea.
look that up, actually.
Yeah, the
I'm
only
curious.
people I know that are in this are the same old, was it Ben Schwartz as Sonic, James Marsden as his like cop friend slash dad, which
Knuckles is Idris Elba.
Yep, great.
That's great
Yeah.
casting.
I mean, so loving these movies, I looked up the director just to see what else he had done. Nothing. The guy came out of nowhere, and he makes these great movies for kids that my kids love.
Yeah.
I don't know what he did beforehand. I think maybe he was in video game animation.
That would make sense.
And some loose. I think he was nominated for a short film.
Oh, okay.
In 2004, so like 20 years ago.
So he knows what he's got some background experience, and they
Have
just
some background, but to come
really-
out and make such a smash hit series like this.
it's you can't understate how popular this is with the younger generation. The thing is, I knew that this movie's going to be a pretty big hit, I think, and I knew that because when I was walking around on Halloween, so many kids in Shadow Sonic costumes. That was very popular this year. Video game costumes were very popular this year in general, but there was quite a few Sonic costumes. There was a lot of Shadow Sonic, and the thing is, I remember the video games growing up, and I remember several of these characters. I am too old to remember Shadow. He's a newer character, so I don't know much about him. So that's why this one's like, I don't know what to expect at all, from this one.
My kids loved the Sonic movies. One of them wanted to be Sonic for Halloween, but he decided on being Predator instead and settled for just having Sonic pajamas. He's got Sonic pajamas.
It's pretty good.
But the full suit, it's great. So like, footies and everything.
Oh, cool. Well, that sounds comfortable.
Jim Carrey though,
Yeah.
he's so semi-retired.
Yeah.
Has only done these movies
Yeah.
since 2020, I think, 2020
Something like
maybe?
that. Yeah, he has been out of. You don't get to. It's sad we don't get to see Jim Carrey as we once did. You know.
You know what? I appreciate that he is doing these films though, and it seems like he enjoys them. Which I imagine if he's retired, he wouldn't keep doing them if he didn't.
I think that's what he wants to do, but also just because especially his later years, he kind of wanted to be more in the kid-friendly stuff too. I feel, and it's just like that safer kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so he gets to play this zany villain, which he does a great job as Robotnik.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's part of the whole charm of the film is just you get to see Jim Carrey just be the most purest form of himself. Like that character that he plays.
Yeah.
It's that thing that brings so many people joy, and he's been doing it for so long, and it's almost nostalgic to watch as an adult, seeing him cutting it up like he used to, and not that I'm saying his dramatic work wasn't incredible. Eternal Sunshine of Spotless Mind is a stone cold classic.
It's Jim Carrey. He, in some ways, he was always underrated because what you just said is completely true. His dramatic stuff is phenomenal. I think one of his first big, The Truman Show. I love that movie.
Amazing.
So much. And then you mentioned just Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He can do it. He can really bring it when he needs to have like some good dramatic turns and have, he does a good job as a villain turn, quite frankly. And that's what he's doing here. He's playing our Robotnik as this just cartoon villain, literally, just mustache twirling, you know. And he's but it's funny because he's one of the few live action ones that they're doing. But you wouldn't know it because it's Jim Carrey and he can make himself look like a cartoon.
He is a cartoon.
And you just, you want to keep it. Anytime we can get him to keep coming back, and maybe we can get him out of the semi-retirement too.
Even if he stays retired after Sonic, I think he's given us so much over his career. Just like Gene Hackman, he's earned his time. If that's what he wants to do with his life, no judgment from me. I appreciate everything he's given to us. If he happens to want to do a few more movies, I'll certainly be first in line to see
Well, we don't know.
him.
Maybe we'll get a Sonic 4. I don't know how much of the lore they have yet like to pull in there. They've got the Shadow Sonic, so I'm not sure what's left.
I don't know.
We'll see here.
I never played Sonic as a kid. I didn't even watch a cartoon like you guys.
Some of
Steven did.
Some of those cartoons were quite good, actually. So there's some stuff they could borrow.
I read online that it was just Dragon Ball Z, that they retold Dragon Ball Z.
A little bit, but they had some of the cartoons were a little darker in tone. It was kind of fascinating in this one way.
All right, so the next film we're going to take a look at here is A Complete Unknown, which I believe is a biopic of Bob Dylan. So let's take a look at it.
I want to tell you a little story. A few months back, my friend Woody Guthrie and I, we met a young man. He dropped in on us out of nowhere and he played us a song. In that moment, we got a feeling
That's how I got so far.
Good start.
Yeah, if somebody pitched this as an SNL sketch, I would have believed it.
Yeah, same. We started out by this whole episode by saying, well, there's some that we're excited about, some not so much. And this is one I'm not as excited about because, well, we've seen this before.
It just feels dry, like contrived. Like if somebody pitched this to me, I'd be like, yeah, right, no way.
Well, it's not even the first time they've tried doing a Bob Dylan biopic. In 2007, I'm Not There, it was produced, which is a biopic of Bob Dylan. And the twist on that one is they realized there's no way they could have one actor do it all throughout his eras. So what the joke was, the kind of the gimmick of that is throughout the movie, they had different actors play him at different time periods. And it was the range of actors, like Christian Bale stepped in at one point to play him, but then they had other actors, even some women.
I said, wasn't Kate Blanchett?
Yes, she was. She was one of them. And actually, she looked pretty good as Bob Dylan. It was very believable, and people liked it. It was like one of the better musical biopics. And the thing is, we got to acknowledge we got a lot of music biopics coming out lately. A lot of them. It was Bohemian Rhapsody that really got it going.
Well, it was actually James Mangold with Walk the Line.
Yes.
15 years ago, and it seems like it hasn't stopped since.
No, and it isn't, and that's and we Walk the Line. That became so cliche to the point where we had to have the Dewey Cox story,
which was great.
Which is a good movie that everyone should.
Yes.
Walk Hard by Dewey Cox. That movie, look it up. It's fantastic. And the thing is, someone once said the minute that movie came out, that should have stopped every other biopic. But it didn't. They keep making the same. The stuff they parodied is still being made today, and it's just like, why?
At least James Mangold's other biopic, Ford versus Ferrari, not music related at all. Fantastic film. I fully recommend it.
I think that's another thing we got to mention, though. That's the thing that kind of gives me hope.
Me too.
Is because it's Mangold, and this guy is amazing. He does. There is no such. Someone once pointed out that there's no one thing that James Mangold does. He does everything, and you can't lump him in. He's one of the harder directors to kind of nail down, except that he's good.
Yeah, he's good. But studio meddling for that one, probably.
Studio meddling. We'll say that, but again, another thing we should praise. Ford vs. Ferrari. Great movie.
Yep.
See that movie.
If you haven't seen it, you walk by thinking, I don't want to watch Matt Damon drive cars. Don't. It's not Matt Damon driving, it's Christian Bale. Watch the movie.
It's so good. And the other thing is that movie, people who are gearheads love cars. Love that movie too. So they did good by them. And so I'm hoping that this one will. And what concerns me is with a lot of biopics, they kind of live and breathe whether or not the actor can actually play the character and sing the songs to seem like it.
But Timothy Chalamet is a great actor, but it just feels like it's too good of a fit. Like I'm almost bored knowing he's gonna be good as the role. And
I'm sure he'll be fine. But even what concerned me about the clip is was that even? I don't think that's him singing. I don't know. I think they're gonna do a sound alike for this too.
Oh,
so it just kind of makes you go, okay. I'm sure he'll probably do some of it, but I don't know. It's just they're trying to. He's
like Bob Dylan's not even a good singer. How hard can it be? It sounds like cats scratching the walls.
Yeah, I know. That's the fun thing, and that's just retreading this just because I didn't. It's one of those things. Did we need a Bob Dylan?
I'm gonna get hate for that, but I think Bob Dylan doesn't. He's not. His songs are good. He himself, he's not a good singer.
He's the folk singer. He doesn't have to have. He's not the pop icon, so he can have that voice that sounds weather worn and rough, and that's why we kind of like him anyway. And he's the only but You're right. You can imitate. Even I could probably do a decent Bob Dylan impersonation if I tried.
If Timmy can't do that, I don't think he deserves the Oscars he's been getting.
But that's the other thing too is this reeks of Oscar bait. This movie.
I know. I'm so bored by it. It's so. I'll probably watch it 10 years from now and regret that I didn't see it when it came out. But you know what? Too bad. All right, so I think we should probably talk about our next movie here, which is The Last Showgirl with Pamela Anderson, which to me might be the most intriguing film, and simultaneously, I have a lot of negative things to say about it.
We'll hear them all.
All right, let's take a look at it.
Places, please. Places, please. This is your place's call for the final performance of the Razzle Dazzle.
I mean, Las Vegas used to treat us like movie stars. Costumes, sets. We were ambassadors for style and grace. The Las Vegas Showgirl. The iconic American showgirl.
You have an act prepared?
I do. I'm a dancer.
Music?
Yeah. I gave it to the maestro. Feeling seen, feeling beautiful. That is power. powerful. And I can't imagine my life without it. Doing a job that you don't really love, that's hard.
Can we go 1 week without talking about the Coppolas? In some way, shape, or form? That's my complaint.
Yeah.
However, if you, like 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, you told me that John Cena, The Rock, Dave Bautista were all going to be actors and The Rock was going to be the worst one of the bunch, I would never have believed you in a million years.
Same.
But, I mean, the record's starting to speak for itself on that end.
Yeah, I would say so too.
I'm genuinely very excited for this film. I think it looks gorgeous. I'm all for the story of, like, classic American jobs and their demise.
Yeah.
I think it's an important thing to be telling as artists.
Yep.
I don't know how this story is going to be handled in this film. I think that it's a very interesting story. As far as, you know, we've been talking a lot about retreading old ground. I mean, the only other film I can think of that features showgirls is Showgirls. Which, you know, coming from one of my favorite directors, Paul Verhoeven, is a strange and interesting movie that delves into this world. So, you know, I know nothing about this Coppola. It's not Sophia. That's all I know. It's not Nick Cage. It's not, you know, any of the other ones that we may know and love or despise. I don't know.
Gia Coppola, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, you know, Gia's background so much on where this came from exactly here. And it's kind of funny that it's like, okay, well then Gia's got one coming out the same time as Francis had a big one. Although this one looks a little bit more restrained down to reality here. I'm confident like this one will probably will be kind of, there was a studio there giving the notes and helping out and making this the best they can. I think though with this one, because this is everything you said about telling the demise of certain types of professions, that's interesting as artists. It's good that we tell this story. So this could absolutely work. This could be just a really, really, for the moment, perfect movie. I think what a lot of it is going to come down to is just acting, the performances here, and whether and what we got here from this trailer. It's like, can Pamela Anderson deliver and give us the powerhouse role? And my big is maybe.
It's a name we haven't heard in a long time.
I haven't, and she got famous just, you know, from her days on Baywatch too.
Yep.
So it's not like we were thinking of her range, but that's kind of the thing, is because you could almost argue she was playing a showgirl for years.
Yes.
And so this would be something she probably knows a lot about.
Yeah, there's a lot of for her to mine there.
I could see her bringing this to the forefront and really being able to play this character well and make it interesting too, and give us enough pathos and all that kind of thing.
I'm wondering, just based on the trailer, if it's going to be told like in eras too. Like maybe is it all at the cusp of death, or is it an old dog looking back on their life?
Well, will it have flashbacks or not?
Yes.
It's possible. From the look of it, I didn't see too much evidence, because it doesn't look like they're doing any kind of age reduction on her or trying to make her look like younger or anything.
Which I would prefer they just have two separate people.
And we might see that too. I don't know. From the trailer, it's not clear how they do it. It almost looks like the day in the life of just the lead up to
just
like
the one day.
Like maybe the 24-hour lead up to her final performance or something like that. That could be what's going on here with this.
I would, you know, I might have to just. I'll have to see this one, I think. Whether it gets bad reviews or not. Just because I'm terribly interested to see whether Pamela Anderson has more to give. You know, considering her entire career spanned the decade of the 90s where she was running around in a bathing suit and not doing terribly much else. You know, I think it's important for artists to get the chance especially older women, to do something besides play those roles and to do something besides then retire to be a mother character. Like, you know, it feels like those are the two roles every woman gets besides Meryl Streep, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm fairly confident that even if it's just not quite what we need it to be as performance, I think it'll be enough there that we're going to be looking at her career a little bit differently going forward.
I heard she's in the new Naked Gun as well.
Ooh, well, there you go.
Which I think I'm very excited for because it's Liam Neeson.
Oh, yeah.
From what I understand.
Oh, yes. I'm excited. And, you know, being a huge fan of the Naked Gun series, you know, that's the movie I'm really excited about now, too. So either way, let's do this. All right. I'm all for the
I did
Pamela Anderson Renaissance.
Dirty Harry Naked Gun, like, back-to-back watch with my dad, like, 2 years ago. And, man, it is so funny, and especially after just watching Dirty Harry.
yeah, that's true. So many lines are the same.
Exactly, like word for word.
That was a Julius Caesar Shakespeare in the Park, you moron. You killed 5 actors, good ones.
Oh man, every time. Leslie Nielsen, just an absolute gem. Just the best straight man. In any comedy.
When are we going to get the biopic about Leslie Nielsen?
Yeah, starting from, you know, all the way back Forbidden Planet on. Let's go the whole gambit.
Let's do it. His career renaissance. Let's do that. Like just the behind the scenes making of Airplane.
And there would be a lot of whoopee cushions, I think, involved. Because from what I understand, he would carry one everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting story.
I missed out on it.
All right, so. Last Showgirl, very interesting.
Yep.
No nepotism, Coppola's, thousands of them. Steven keeps wanting me to claim Jason Schwartzman as a Coppola, whereas I see him as a minion of Wes Anderson.
Is he related to the Coppola?
He is a Coppola.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's Coppola's nephew, I guess. I didn't know
Okay.
that either because I just see him as like this troll that Wes Anderson carries around in his backpack.
Sure, why not? I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I mean, he's one of them that rejected the last name. He's like, no, I don't want to.
Well, I think,
Maybe.
Nick Cage did too, so
Yeah.
I think that makes them more successful, maybe.
Maybe they wanted to get it under their own steam.
Yeah,
It's kind of interesting there.
We'll see. Anyway, next thing we're going to talk about here is the one that I would say I'm definitively the most excited for. And I think you probably share that feeling as well.
Yeah.
This is a movie I feel like is a long time coming.
Yeah.
And the perfect director for it. Not that I have other...
Oh, he's the perfect director for it.
Other
You're right.
rumored directors in the past would have been great. I heard at one point Del Toro was attached to a production of this.
Yeah, he'd been good.
But this, I think, is gonna be just...
It's the better way to go about it.
Perfect fit for style and substance.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to take a look at the trailer for Nosferatu here. Let's take a look.
Come to me. Come to me. Hear my call. Come to me. Professor, my dreams grow darker. Does evil come from within us? Or from beyond?
He is coming.
He is coming.
He is coming to us.
He's coming.
Who is coming to my child? We are here encountering the vampire. Nosferatu.
Woo! I'm excited.
Yeah, this is the most probably my most excited for a movie all year. this is the one.
I would say Alien Romulus for me, but this is definitely the number 2.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so excited when I first heard that they were doing, and all of that. Robert Eggers was going to direct it because I'm like, that's perfect because we mentioned earlier James Marigold, he's a great director who doesn't have a specific theme or aesthetic. Eggers does. Eggers has a very, and this is exactly what he does. For those who don't know, he started out with The Witch, and then he kind of went on to their, I believe the next film he got Green Knight. He did that one as well.
Was he Green Knight? I don't think he was Green.
He was Green Knight.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Lighthouse.
Lighthouse, I saw.
Yeah, that was Lighthouse. Northman, The Northman.
Supremely underrated film, in my opinion.
So
I thought that was incredible.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. And what's interesting about his work with those movies, they're all, well, first off, they're all period set films set in the past, but they also kind of are retelling of other classic stories in a weird way. Like The Witch is kind of Hansel and Gretel from a weird way. It's little twists on it and some other ones. Green Knight is just, that's the Arthur legend, but it's a different version of that, kind of a, destructured version of that, kind of taking it apart. And then Lighthouse, which is the one I'm kind of a little bit of The Little Mermaid mixed in there, to be honest with you. Some of those folklore stuff.
That one might be a stretch.
But you kind of see it a little bit.
Hamlet, but
Northman. Yeah, you're right. That's Hamlet. It's him. But what's interesting, especially with Northman, is technically it's the Northman was a retelling of the Legend of Amulet, which was the inspiration for Hamlet.
Yeah.
So what he did is he didn't go with the actual Hamlet remake. He took the inspiration for Hamlet and then made a movie of that.
Yeah.
So he goes back to kind of the original source material, not the one we know. So what did he do? This is Nosferatu. It's the Dracula legend. It's just Dracula. But he did it he took the Nosferatu one, which came out before, although technically Nosferatu was a ripoff of Dracula, but then it came out first as a silent film.
Because he lost copyright.
Yeah.
So Stoker's widow sued them,
It's such a weird thing to happen, and it's like, and it's funny because this will be the third time we've had a Nosferatu. There wasn't one in the 70s that got made as well, but it's just, I'm amazed that we've only gotten 2 Nosferatu.
Well, I mean, we have gotten the direct translation of the Dracula legend many times besides, but this, I think, I've always thought that Robert Eggers' visual flair screamed of German Expressionism, much in the same way that, oh gosh, why am I not? Johnny Depp and
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton does the same, but I feel like Robert Eggers is so tailor-made for a remake of a German Expressionist
And it's funny you mentioned Depp because his daughter's in this.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Jeez,
I didn't even know, but
it's so. And another thing Eggers does is he's been putting Willem Dafoe in a lot of his stuff. So here's Willem Dafoe again.
How does Willem Dafoe get in with all the greats? I mean,
he's been in everything. He's having a good year, we should know, because he was in the Beetlejuice sequel.
When is he not?
He was in the Saturday Night Live movie, and now he's in this. This is like 3 movies that he's been in.
He's been how many Wes Anderson movies?
Oh,
he's
been everywhere.
In too? He's been, I mean,
he's everywhere.
Almost all of them since Life Aquatic, right?
And we gotta acknowledge this. He looks like he's playing the Van Helsing character in this adaptation.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Willem Dafoe was in a movie called Shadow of the Vampire, where he played the actor who was supposed to play the original Nosferatu Dracula, and the joke being that he was an actual vampire in that movie. And so it's like, this is the second time he's been in a Nosferatu-based film.
I heard somebody say sometime, some director said that Arnold Schwarzenegger is a human special effect. Like, when you see him on screen, it's as good as having a special effect. I feel the same way about Willem Dafoe. When he's on screen, he brings an immediate atmosphere.
I will agree with you that, because it's a mean joke someone said, but I was the Mystery Science Theater guys. They did a riff track of, I think it was the original Spider-Man movie, and as soon as Willem Dafoe turns into villain Green Goblin guy, so they say, when you need to have a scary monster for your monster movie, but cannot afford a Halloween mask, you get Willem Dafoe. And it's so mean, but
I was not trying to insult Willem Dafoe. I have a ton of respect for Willem Dafoe.
You can't. He's great, and but that's the thing is he's we went on about how much we love Jim Carrey earlier. This guy's also got kind of a rubber face.
I mean, a little bit.
He can kind of do it. He can do anything. It's so great, and I just love that this is the year of Dafoe, man, and he's going to be in this fantastic looking film here that just got so much, the cinematography and just the shadow work they got going on
I
here.
feel like every single frame of all of his movies are just expertly crafted. In the same way I feel about Wes Anderson, where it just feels like every single image is so well planned out, it just looks perfect.
Yeah.
I think The Northman may have been the most beautiful movie I've ever seen. And it was dark, and it was dour, and it was just dirty.
Rainy and cold.
And it was perfect. I mean, that end scene in the volcano,
It's so good.
unbelievable. And, you know, I'm looking forward to more
Yeah.
detail and care in this adaptation as well. I couldn't be more excited. I probably won't see it in theaters because I never see anything in theaters, but I'll see it as soon as I possibly can.
I will see it in the theaters, and you know, I see a lot of
have as many kids as
I don't.
I
You're
can't
right.
leave
You're right.
the house, man.
You're right. I'll be able to see it, and the thing is, you know, I see a lot of scary movies, and I'm usually okay with it, but I haven't. Fingers crossed, this one might actually be scary.
Ooh.
I might actually be scared by this one a little bit. It looks like they got some creepy stuff going on here.
I mean, he's always got a tone, but I've never felt like his films were scary.
But most of them aren't. Like, the only, I mean, the thing is, and there was this big debate years ago when The Witch came out, his first big film. Like, oh, this isn't a horror movie, and I wasn't scared by it. It's
I feel
good.
like that's his scariest one.
It was. It is absolutely, because it's the only one that was trying to be scary.
Yeah.
To be honest, the other ones were kind of action films, just done, you know, mythical retellings of other things.
The Lighthouse was not an action.
That was not intended to be a horror movie either, I would say. And you know, a lot of people fall like, well, Witch isn't really a horror movie. Well, you might have a point there, but this one clearly is supposed to be a horror.
You know, it's an adaptation of a classic horror film.
One of the oldest
Yeah.
horror movies. So that's really really exciting to get that because we're getting a lot of Dracula references coming out these days.
Yeah.
Dracula movies coming out recently, and so I'm just kind of. Because I'm just thinking of all the Dracula movies we've had recently, like.
I don't care. We're being a little hypocritical right now, complaining about sequels and adaptations.
But they're doing Nosferatu instead, which they haven't done, which is different, you know. So
Yeah.
I'll praise it for that. You know?
I'll own the hypocrisy on this one. I'm excited.
Well, you know, I think it's Eggers doing it. So
Yeah.
He knows what when we trust him.
When it sucks, we're gonna look like such schmucks.
I will, but then I'll still go back to all the other vampire movies, Dracula related stuff from. We had a Renfield, we had a Voyage of the Demeter recently.
Steven said that was good, I think.
It is. Voyage of the Demeter is really, really good. Funny because Redfield starred Nicholas Hoult, and he's in this one too.
Oh yeah.
I think he looks like he's playing. He might be. He's not. It doesn't look like he's playing the Renfield role this time, which would be weird if they had him play Renfield twice in a row. But
yeah, that'd be typecasting in a very weird way.
Looks like he's playing the Jonathan Harker character. I'm not sure though. We'll find out.
Okay, well, welcome. We have a special guest today. Again, this is Kevin Acker.
Hey.
Nice to meet you. We go back a little ways here, but he's going to go ahead and talk to us about a couple of short films he's got, and you know, he's in town for the screenings that are taking place later today. But if you're seeing this video, you missed it, unfortunately. So, Kevin, it's nice to see you again.
It's great to see you, Mike.
Jesus.
Thanks for having me.
It's been like 15 years since we graduated.
12.
12.
Yeah.
It's been 12.
I think 2013 was.
You graduated.
Yeah.
Because you stayed for another semester, right?
Another year, but yeah.
Okay. Well, so you are a member of Chamber 6 Media, which is a group you started with a partner of yours in Fargo, correct?
Yes, yeah. Me and Oscar De Leon back in 2014, we started that and kind of started as and it still more or less is, but as a way to make and particularly fund, you know, the short films and things like that we particularly want to make, the things that are driven from within us. A lot of times what we would do is like, you know, we would have our regular job, make commercials, promotional videos, things like that, use that money to fund our little studio space, buy equipment, and, you know, ultimately fund our projects. As time continued to go on and we were able to like get people to notice us a little bit. We eventually got commissioned for music videos and things like that. Yeah, here we are 10 years later and have quite a collection of stuff.
Yeah, I was going through your filmography before we sat down. Very impressive. So it seems like you guys have kind of a focus on, I want to say, musically driven projects, whether it's music documentaries, music videos, or even your short films seem to incorporate a lot of visuals with musical elements. So can you tell me a little bit about maybe getting started and working in music videos and music documentaries?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's hard to really put any words to it other than just like we really, really like music. We're both into various levels of independent music, whether a variety of different genres, and our desire to be part of that world and express ourselves musically really could only funnel itself into our actual artistic trade, which is filmmaking. And so we did that through originally we made a documentary about a music venue that was closing down in the Fargo-Moorhead area, which is where I'm from and where we went to school, basically. We started out with that, or it was one of our earliest projects, and then as we
What was the name of that one?
That was called The New Direction, which was the same title as the venue. From there, we kind of got integrated into the local music scene, and either made music videos or one of the short films that we're playing tonight called Song of the Resurrector, that was made with a local metal band as doing the score, because it was originally a music video, and then we did the flip version of that, where instead of this fast, high paced cutting thing, we did this like sort of longer protracted, slower metal riff thing. So
I saw that one was integrated into the United States of Horror, which is an anthology series.
Yep.
So how did you guys kind of get caught up with that?
Really, it was just a matter of somebody reaching out one day. He had basically, the guy that was putting it all together, he had kind of found a short film for each state that he wanted to have represented in the collection. One day we got an email, basically. I don't know if it was, he found our contact from like the North Dakota Film Society or what, but we just got reached out to at one point, and I was like, I already really wanted to do an alternative edit with a score done by the same band and so on. Now this just gives me a reason to do so. And so, we did, spent a couple months working on that, and then, now it's part of that collection, and it's minimal, but Doug Bradley from Hellraiser did the narration for the entire project and stuff. So, we're the North Dakota representation for that.
The United States of Horror.
Correct. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So it seems like you guys really love working in the horror genre. Now, I've known you for a while, and I've always thought you kind of had really striking visual flair. And working on something like Leaf Man here, how did you come up with the creature design? Because it's fantastic.
I would say definitely that's sort of my yang to Oscar's yin on as far as like what we do as a collective. I definitely occupy more of a horror fantasy area, and he kind of tends to, still some psychedelia on his side, but he does a lot of more like personal stories and things like that. So as far as that pertains to the creature design and so on, part of what I was trying to accomplish with this film, which, for those watching at home, the film it's a 20-minute long, psychedelic story of a man who becomes a leaf man. There's no dialogue in it. The entire thing is propelled by a shoegaze score, and it's just a journey of transformation, both personal, emotional, and existential. And Basically, I was trying to accomplish how visually I could represent our complete inseparability from nature. And so at a certain point, that sort of struck me as like the most succinct way to do that. I think in particular, a lot of my ideas, they come to me as like a visual flash that I latch onto. And so there was just one day where I saw a guy made of leaves sitting up from a pile of leaves, which that does not happen in the film, but it was just a thing where I was like, that's it. That's what I need to articulate this idea. And from there, it was a matter of letting the idea sort of develop itself. Because I really hate forcing ideas. And so I have to like continue to sort of let things pop and then catch them and assess them, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, on the bottom half of here, we have a guy with no skin.
Flame man.
Yeah, and so there was a point along his journey that I was sort of continuing to let develop in my head that where I saw these two beings have an encounter. Didn't quite know what it meant at the time, but I knew they were engaging in some kind of ritual dance type of thing. And it only through continued meditation and patience did it become sort of more clear as to somewhat, to some degree, what it meant, but more where each of them was going, you know? And so, yeah, without completely spelling out the whole thing, I mean, that's the type of story I like to go with, is like some usually non-human character going on some journey where the audience doesn't know where he's going, but he ends up somewhere significant.
So, you know? Telling a story, especially one without dialogue, is an incredible challenge. I don't know, did you see No One Will Save You?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a great example of a story told without any, or limited dialogue. So how do you go about planning a story like this, where you know going into it, you're not going to have the advantage of exposition via dialogue?
You know, I think that I just don't see it that way. I see it as, you know, in very formative years, like a lot of our film contemporaries, was highly influenced by David Lynch, and saw things like Eraserhead, and that like, it really set a foundation for how I think about like visual expression and how you can carry a story without much dialogue, and tell a lot about what, you know, these, I don't want to just say people, but like beings are thinking through movement. I think
almost a dance.
And a dance. I mean, yeah, for real. I mean, and that has sort of become, in a way, like my default way of thinking about how I'm going to tell a story. Even ideas I currently have that I might make in the future that have dialogue, my intention is to keep that light or sparse. You know, I think, for one, our primary mode of existing in the world as human beings is actually not one of like linguistic thought. It is like a much more fluid and engaged way of interacting with our surroundings.
You're talking about like more than a third of communication is nonverbal.
Yes,
so
yes,
you're
yes.
interacting, it's, you know,
and
not
even
just
when you're
taking dialogue cues,
in a room by yourself doing whatever, if I'm, you know, even writing, which it's linguistic, so it's kind of a bad idea. If I say I'm drawing or whatever, I'm not really like thinking, okay, now I'm going to stroke my pen to the right, now I'm going to stroke my pen to the left. I'm engaging with it in this way that is like a physical, fluid action. And so, you know, I spend a lot of time by myself, and so I
hadn't thought that.
You know, I
never have time by myself. I got too many kids.
Yeah. But I, you know, sort of exist in this way that is, you know, not a lot of chatter, you know, and so I think like we could learned a lot, on some level from that, while also it is that time by myself has made me also realize the importance of our own interactions and or like our social interactions and how important we are to continuing to keep ourselves from atrophying in isolation.
And that face-to-face communication is such an important part of that, and that's something that is missing nowadays, where everything is done digitally via, texts or video, or like without that personal interaction. We're missing almost a whole third of our communication basis.
100%, and the pandemic exacerbated that significantly for a lot of us. For me, I mean, obviously I didn't relish the pandemic, but I was like, oh great, like it wasn't that big of a deal for me at first, because I was like, I'm by myself a lot anyway.
Me too. I was like, I get to spend time at home with my family. I never get to do that.
And then it was like, after a year or whatever, it made me just realize, like, yeah, I'm good maybe being by myself 75-80% of the time, but that 20-25% is actually really critical for how I feel stimulated and grow. It's like, it literally is like working out, when you're young, you take that for granted, and then you get older and you realize you've been letting your body atrophy this whole time. And so there's a lot of things that, unless you continue to build those strengths back up, and I think as a society right now, we are very socially atrophied, and it's very hard for people to
I feel like, especially right now, especially with screenings, especially for film screenings, everything has become so individualized with your streaming services and stuff like that. We're missing that community element of going to see a film together and experiencing it in a group. I mean, it's a totally different experience going to see a film in a full theater than it is sitting alone at home. You know, there's a level of interaction that we get with crowds in a community that we just are missing, sitting at home and digesting these things by ourselves.
100%. On top of the like little spontaneous little interactions you can have with people during or post a screening, I find myself at home having sort of a paralysis by analysis, where there's too many choices, so I don't watch anything. And,
or you just watch Star Trek again.
Yeah, or I watch sports or something, and it's just like...
Hey, I love sports. I watch Celtics all the time.
I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
All right,
so
okay, well, you can stop now.
Well, you were a Patriots fan,
yeah, exactly.
So,
we beat you.
But, anyways, I'm happy to watch sports, but I just don't think that it's, I like a balanced diet, ultimately. And I think that, like... if I just end up defaulting to what's easy and what's like sort of more spontaneous and so on, because there's 3,000 choices on streaming, I just don't end up ingesting much art at all, and that's not good for anybody, and so having curated screenings where you don't necessarily know what you're about to see, things like that. That's, I think, good for people. And you can be surprised that way. Maybe people will hate, some of the things that we put on.
If they hate it, I hope they express that.
But it's like, ultimately, that's okay. Life is it's not these little
I have this conversation with Steven every once in a while. Not everything has to be for everyone. Like, it's okay to have niche art, and it's okay for like something to exist that's not for you. Like, it doesn't necessarily like have to be a homogeneous product that we all have to sit and consume together. There can be things we don't like, or things that we don't necessarily seek out to enjoy. Doesn't mean that they don't deserve to exist,
or that they don't have artistic merit or anything like that. I mean, the other thing too is like, especially on the level that, this has been my primary focus for a while, but in particular, we premiered it at the end of May in the Twin Cities, and it's been an interesting process to try to find its audience and to try to, one, get accepted by film festivals and things like that, but then try to figure out, okay, how can we put on our own screenings and things like that, and figure out who wants to even come out and see a project like this, and I've been surprised, I guess, ultimately that people do want to see it, which is nice.
Yeah.
And in fact, we just got yesterday accepted into the Psychedelic Film and Music Festival in New York City, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. You gonna go?
I'm hoping to. It's less than 4 weeks out, so.
Oh, that's kind of a tight timeline, especially this time of year when traveling is.
Yeah, and
pricey.
it's not just the priciness of the travel, but it's just I'm a starving artist a little bit right now, so. But yeah, ultimately, even if you feel like you're getting rejected and so on, sometimes it's just a matter of continuing to persevere and find the people that do want to see it. It's not about maybe 75% of people don't really care, but can you find those 25%? That's how you continue to develop your own artistic audience, and also that's who it's for. It's not for the 75%.
Who cares what they think? They have other things that they can enjoy.
Yeah.
There's tons of Marvel movies out there. You know what, Kevin? It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
I really enjoyed talking to you. You know what? Hopefully a lot of people come out for your screening tonight, and I can't wait to see it.
Yes. Hopefully for the audience at home, we'll have it online at some point. I would think in 2025. I don't know exactly when. It's all kind of dependent on the festival circuit, but if you just go to chamber6media.com, and 6 is spelled out, you can find a lot of our projects there, including more information about this, and you can also email us if you want to try to host a screening or something like that. Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin.
Cool. Thanks, Mike.
Nice to see you. All right. Well, I think it's time to move on to some trivia here. Stephen, what do you got for us this week? Hopefully we can actually get one right.
Yeah,
we got one.
We needed help. We needed help last time from Jack and those guys.
Yeah.
They helped with that. But we usually get like a 1 right. That's, we're working on it. Part of it I blame Steve. He is trying to stump us.
I agree.
I think they're easier this month. So.
Okay.
Y2K is Kyle Mooney's second credit as a writer on a feature film. Which film was his first?
He says it's going to be easier, and then he pulls this out. What?
Mooney. What bothers me, as soon as he says it, I'm you're right, I heard that before. That's the problem. I'm trying to think because I know who Kyle Mooney is. I remember on Saturday Night Live, but I don't remember what his writing credit would have been. So if this is okay, it would have been a few years ago. It's probably a comedy.
He also starred in it.
Okay, he's in it. Oh
hell,
boy.
Now
Now I'm in trouble because I don't remember what else he's been in besides this, and I can't look up without cheating.
I think my head's gonna explode. I got nothing.
Okay, well, we'll give you the answer on this one. It is Brigsby Bear.
Oh,
Bear.
Okay, I remember the trailer for this one
a couple years ago.
But I forgot this movie.
I was looking at his IMDb today too. This is pathetic.
What sitcom did Pamela Anderson have her television debut?
I think I actually know the answer to this one.
You go ahead.
I think, because I know for a fact she was on it early on, but she was on in early episodes of Home Improvement.
She was.
Because she was before they had to have the Tool Girl on his show, and that was her. That was originally her. And
Charles in Charge.
Sorry, I didn't mean to hit that, but that was a trick question.
You monster!
She was a recurring character on Home Improvement, but she was on an episode of Charles in Charge before that.
See, I wanted to go earlier in Home Improvement because it was too contemporaneous with.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is because that's what she went from Home Improvement straight to I believe the Baywatch, and I didn't. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a Charles.
I wouldn't have guessed Charles in Charge either. I would have guessed something else.
I should have
from
known.
The '80s, but
yeah, I mean it would.
We had a great theme song.
Charles in Charge.
Which real-life politician inspired the creation of Sonic?
Oh my God.
Politician? Oh. It would have been like what, the late 80s or something? And did they inspire him by the negative attitude or something?
And it was a Japanese thing, right?
Well, Sega would have done it, and they're trying to give the character attitude. So what politician in that time would have had some really fun attitude?
Margaret Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher. Yes. Margaret Thatcher. That's what we're going with.
All right. Close.
Bill Clinton!
It was Bill Clinton. And it was like right around the time he was kind of coming up.
Because of chili dogs?
It's jazz. It's jazz.
It's jazz. You're right. You work with jazz. Yeah.
Saxophone.
Dang it.
Who was originally cast in this version of Nosferatu?
Doug Jones. I don't know.
You know, oh shoot, that's gonna bug me now because I know this version of Nosferatu. It's Bill Skarsgård who's doing it.
Yes.
And I think.
What about Robert Pattinson? He worked with him previously.
Yeah, he wouldn't possibly. That would seem like something he'd try to do. That's not a bad guess, but I'm trying to think of because I think this is gonna bug me because I remember hearing some of the early casting.
I know the Del
calls
Toro version was Doug
yeah,
Jones.
Yeah, they had some other. And you might be right. Then it might be Doug Jones. That'd be the most sensible one.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
It was Harry Styles.
Wow!
He had to back out due to scheduling conflicts.
That's scheduling.
Yeah.
That's,
also
that's
known
right.
as they realized he couldn't.
They realized
his
this is
way
a
out of a paper
terrible,
bag.
terrible idea. Well, the only thing I saw him in was that one.
Don't Worry, Darlings. That was called?
Oh yeah, but he was also in the Nolan film.
Oh, I didn't see that
Dunkirk.
one.
Yeah.
I heard he was good in that one.
Yeah, it's fine.
I didn't see Don't Worry, Darlings either, but my wife did, and she said it was not good. And he specifically was not good.
Well, it's like it's one of those things where Dunkirk he works fine because we're not asking him to do a whole lot either, so he's not stretching his role that much.
Anybody who's good in a Christopher Nolan film should just automatically have to prove themselves in an additional film just to make sure. Not that I'm saying they're not like automatically, but like he has a way of getting the best performances out of everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
And he only works with the best talent too, so like it gives you the illusion of, oh, he's working with this guy, they got to be good.
Yeah.
It's not always the case.
Yeah. Well, I do think they were correct in getting Bill Skarsgård. That was the interesting thing about this trailer. We don't actually get a good look at what the Nosferatu
And
looks
I
like.
appreciate that.
That's smart.
I don't want to see it. I want to see it in the movie, not in the trailer. Stop showing everything in the trailer, people.
We want to be scared, but that's really good because Bill Skarsgård, of course, played Pennywise the Clown.
Oh, yeah.
So he can do this kind of stuff.
Yes, yeah. He can do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
He's got the right vibes for it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, all the Skarsgårds are good.
Yeah, that's Northman.
Yep, it's a different Skarsgård right
Different
there.
Skarsgård.
Yeah.
So the Eggers just got the Skarsgård.
He's just scooping them one at a time.
Well, of course, he'd be stupid not to. Come on.
It's gonna be the older Skarsgård in the next one.
Yeah, whatever he does, that'll be the fun one. Let's take a guess at what he'll be adapting next. He did a vampire movie now, so where does he got to go from here?
Probably some other. He's done Arthurian legend. He's done Shakespeare. Now he's doing gothic horror. He's done
witchcraft.
I'm thinking Aliens is the only thing left.
You're right. It's Aliens. He's going to
He's gonna do Aliens.
He's
got to
do
Robert Eggers, we got you.
It'll be called Roswell.
There you go. Yeah, it'll be a Roswell.
Now when it's not that, I'm going to be disappointed.
All right. Well, what do we got coming up for screenings here? We got. What? It was 1776 last time. We're watching War of 1812, so it's the
Buccaneer.
The Buccaneer.
We got a Yul Brynner film there.
Yul Brynner with Charlton Heston.
Yes, Charlton Heston's playing, our president Andrew Jackson.
Yes, which he does.
He's played twice. He's done that twice, so they're bringing it back here. And it's this Buccaneer, which I didn't know that before I started researching.
I have seen this film.
Yeah. Okay, and it is loosely based on an actual event. Like the character, I didn't know that Yul Brynner's character was a real guy.
He was a pirate that Andrew Jackson recruited to fight for the Battle of New Orleans, which took place after the end of the War of 1812, which America had already lost.
They'd sent out the
but
the treaties had been signed.
Message,
So they were trying to take as much. That's what the British were like. Let's see how much land we can get before the treaties officially goes into effect, and they were able to defend it. So it is a good moment. One of those weird, interesting moments from American history. That's probably good that we have a movie about it.
Yeah. And then we have a screening of a couple other short films
on this coming Thursday.
Thursday, which should be exciting. I mean,
that'll be at the Grand, and we should have the actual director and creator of those short films at the Grand for people who want to check those out here. That'll be really exciting.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on NUFS. We'll see you next month.